Up next, we are going to hear from the Stockbridge School of Agriculture. So it is my pleasure to introduce Naseem Watson, the Director of Recruitment and Communication for Stockbridge.
Hi, everybody. So thanks for taking some time to check us out today. I promise to make this worth your while, and shout out to the West Coast. I can smell your coffee. It smells wonderful. For about 15 minutes, I'm going to talk to you about the Stockbridge School of Agriculture, and I'm going to cover four areas. First, what kind of people apply to Stockbridge. Second, the small school field that Stockbridge offers. Third, the benefits of having huge university financial support. And then fourth, we'll take a look at the range of agricultural majors offered by Stockbridge, and I'll show you some of the actual course titles that you would be taking in those majors. After that, I'll let you hear from two of our current students, Isadora Harper and Morgan Reppert. Isadora and Morgan are enrolled in our Sustainable Food and Farming program for the bachelor's degree, and they can give you an insider's perspective on all of that. So to start with, our agricultural school is ranked #2 in the US and #4 in the world. People that graduate from Stockbridge say it was the best and most formative experience of their life. Many credit their career and career happiness to Stockbridge, but who were these people before they came to Stockbridge? I'm going to give you a few quick descriptions of our applicants, and you can ask yourself how many of these describe you as well. Our typical applicant wants to work outside, and they usually want to work with plants, but they might not be sure which plants they're interested in working with. Our folks might not learn best in a traditional classroom, that is absorbing lectures and doing deep readings and returning for discussions. Most of our students learn best in a hands-on format, and our school matches that learning approach. Our folks have grit, so some people are flummoxed by challenges, but gritty people are energized by challenges. They feel a pull to solve the puzzle, and they enjoy not giving up. That sort of determination is part of your personality. Maybe you belong with us. Many of our applicants are actually not looking for a 4-year college experience, and they want to take classes that are going to directly apply to a career. We offer that. Sometimes our applicants have entry-level work experience, but not necessarily. Many of them are working in landscaping, greenhouse nurseries, farming, several golf courses, that sort of thing. Many of those folks see jobs above their own job that requires some more skills, and Stockbridge is where they come to increase their skills and move towards those jobs. So here's what makes Stockbridge different. We are not a traditional college and classroom experience. Our founder, Levi Stockbridge, said that we learn by doing, and that is indeed at the heart of the way that we teach our courses here. You'll spend a lot of time outdoors. Class might be in a field, or it might be in a tree. Wherever it is each day, you'll be doing something with your body and your hands. How about class on a circle of tree stumps? UMass has more than 20,000 students total, but Stockbridge has fewer than 400 students total. We represent only 2% of the university population. So while you have options to take large university courses, most of your classes will be Stockbridge classes, and the largest of these might have 80 students. More specialized courses might have as few as 10 students. So you don't just have access to faculty, you have a relationship with them. All of our students receive one-on-one advising regarding class selection, progress, and career directions. Because we operate somewhat independently within the university, Stockbridge is the only school at UMass to offer a 2-year associate degree program. Get your Associate of Science degree and get to work. In just 2 years, many of our students start or return to jobs with their wider skill set. Our degrees are stackable, meaning that you can roll your associate into a bachelor's degree if you choose to continue in school. Stay 4 years and you'll leave with 2 degrees, associate and bachelor. We offer seamless transfer into most Stockbridge bachelor programs upon successful completion of the associate degree. We can also help you roll your associate degree into a bachelor degree from elsewhere in the university, not just Stockbridge. Our student community is tight. They work together on teams, which both teaches valuable skills of collaboration, but also provides a social foundation for an enjoyable life while you're here and afterwards. Our Stockbridge alumni community is special. Many are entrepreneurs who started their own business after graduating, and these alumni employers now look to Stockbridge for skilled agricultural talent. Our website, in fact, features a page where agricultural employers list jobs for our graduates in real time, and I'll give you that address at the end. We've got the benefit of large university funding, and that mostly affects our facilities. At Stockbridge, you get the best of both worlds. Our sustainability farm is fully run by our students on university-owned land in the local area. Our permaculture garden is now fully operational and supplies fresh herbs and spices to our university dining commons. Not everyone knows that we maintain pollinator fields and a beekeeping aviary. So we've got the suits and the boxes, and we're working now on finding solutions to colony collapse disorder among bees. This is one of our greenhouse conservatories in winter. It's a moist 85 degrees with quiet waterfall fountains and a feeling of peace. Great place to hang out. But it also houses rare plant collections acquired by the university, including our famous corpse flower that stinks like a corpse when it finally blooms. At the base of Mount Sugarloaf, we have a turfgrass research station where different plots of grass are given different treatments, measured for their different effects. So what's the right kind of turf for a climate? Does planting early make a difference? What's the optimum amount of fertilizer and how often should it be applied? We have experimental and control groups in active production at this station. Other facilities include our networked weather station, solar powered and capturing real-time data, which it shares with a network of other farm-based weather data collectors. We also have our own cranberry bog station for when you want to take a swim. And we have our own apple and fruit tree research orchards. We're very proud to have state-of-the-art plant genetics specialty labs of our own, separate from the other labs across campus. Because we have large university funding, we can have such labs, which attract world-class faculty to teach and conduct their research here. Our faculty researchers come from 10 different countries, and our students and offer our students opportunities to assist with actual research projects. Now, many of our majors offer both an associate's and a bachelor's degree. Arboriculture is a 2-year program, but afterwards you might transfer into a bachelor's degree elsewhere in the university doing natural resource conservation, or the plant and soil sciences program at Stockbridge, or any other program. Arboriculture is about tree care, tree pruning before and after storms, diagnosing and remediating tree disease and pests like the emerald ash borer beetle, maintaining public parks and monument areas. Landscape contracting has an associate degree, and our bachelor's version, you might switch to landscape architecture and regional planning. Horticulture is the production and sale of plants and flowers. Lots of daily problem solving to catch a sign of disease and apply the right solution in time. We do teach about medicinal plants, and we often get some questions about the newly growing cannabis and CBD industries. So let me address that here. Because it is still not legal under federal law, we will not teach you how to grow cannabis specifically. Rather, we will teach you the many skills needed to cultivate a range of useful plants and to do so sustainably. So what you learn from us about energy efficient lighting, temperature controlled indoor growing, and roof type hydroponics will apply to a broad range of plants, including cannabis. How you choose to use such skills after you graduate is entirely up to you, but we want to set you up with skills that will serve you well beyond the cannabis market. Sustainable food and farming, we have both an associate and a bachelor's degree program, and I'll tell you a bit more about that in another slide. And our Turfgrass Management program supplies golf courses and monument areas, national parks, and so forth. We also, our folks do turfgrass management at Fenway, which is a kind of an impressive thing. So in the arboriculture program, the demand for skilled arborists exceeds the supply. That is, we have more jobs than we can create graduates for. Salaries in Boston are around $40,000 to $50,000 to start with and grow higher with experience. Trees are also cost-effective solutions to engineering problems, and to put it bluntly, we are more affordable than engineers. So in the arboriculture program, you might be taking such specialty courses as these on field techniques, plants in the landscape, commercial arboriculture, a plant pathology lab, trees and sustainability, community forestry, pruning fruit crops, and also human dimensions of natural resource management. In our horticulture program, we do nursery crop and greenhouse production. We're working on the use of annuals, perennials, woody trees, and shrubs in the landscape. This is a program that connects also closely with our landscaping program. Horticulture is going to focus you on botany, plant nutrients, herbaceous plants, greenhouse management, insects of ornamental plants, principles of pesticide management, and organic farming and gardening, to name a few. Take a close look at this picture from landscape contracting. That is not real. That is a model built to scale by our students. The three-legged foundations of landscape contracting are in design and modeling, some horticulture, and then also some business acumen, landscape construction business. This is a major that attracts a lot of self-starters and entrepreneurs who want to start their own business. We have collaborative student projects and a lot of team-based learning here. And our internships help to develop a work ethic and experience beyond graduation. You may know that an internship is the #1 thing you can do for yourself to make yourself more employable after graduation. From Stockbridge, you graduate with those skills and experience in hand. So courses here would include our soils course, but also landscape drafting, land form, a construction materials practicum, the business of landscape contracting, small property design, and of course that summer internship. So Turfgrass Management, the salaries are quite nice, 35 to 70,000 with a lot of opportunities to advance. We are the #1 turfgrass program in New England, and our turfgrass program is respected nationwide. I'm going to pause and boast for a moment about Andy Connolly and our turfgrass program now. Andy, like many of you, liked golf and worked at a golf course after high school. He eventually enrolled in the 2-year Stockbridge program, got his associate degree, he's on the way there. He did his internship just recently at Winged Foot Golf Courses where the US Open happened. And we're proud to note that the director of turfgrass operations at Winged Foot is also a Stockbridge alum. So turfgrass courses are going to include basic turfgrass management, insects and related forms, the pathology lab, turf machineries, maintenance and repair, applied calculations in turf management, principles of weed management and pesticide management, irrigation and drainage, and the summer internship. Plant and Soil Sciences is bachelor's degree only. It's our most science-heavy degree at Stockbridge. Students in this major propose, design, and run their own experiments using the lab facilities of the university. The emphasis on doing independent research develops soft skills valuable to almost any industry. And students from this major will be taking courses from such university departments as biology, biochemistry, and geosciences in addition to the Stockbridge School. Some of them may choose to apply to our graduate program at the end of their 4 years. So you can see the range of sciences there, including genetic analysis, biotechnology of plants, grapevine biology. We'll teach you about physiology and plant stress, aqueous environmental geochemistry, and hydrogeology, the effect of water on rocks and soil. Our students run our farm in the Sustainable Food and Farming degree. Its success or failure each year is the result of the changes that they choose to implement or experiment with. They spend the winter planning and calculating supply against demand. They plant in the spring, and they do harvest and distribution in the summer and fall. Our student farm hosts a community-supported agriculture, or CSA, program to distribute the harvest locally. And our farm also supplies our local Big Y grocery stores. Courses in that program include small fruit production, sustainable soil and crop management, plant nutrients, organic vegetable production, the science of deciduous orchards, and we have an extended farming internship that I just described with the winter, spring, and summer. So as a reminder, the dates to apply for early action are November 5th, and our regular decision date deadline is January 15th. We highly recommend the early action deadline as we're able to find many good matching applicants then. And while we have limited spaces, the trick for us is to find the right students that match our program. And so that's why I described the type of person that you may be. If that sounded like you in the beginning, I would encourage you to apply for early action. If you're not certain yet, you're certainly welcome to apply for regular decision as well. So here's where you can learn more about Stockbridge, and from our website up top, you are also able to contact our social media right from the website. We have a sustainable food and farming blog that's a lot of fun to interact with. And at this point, I'm going to introduce our students, and they're from the Sustainable Farming Program. Isadora Harper and Morgan Reppert are in the Bachelor's Degree Sustainable Food and Farming Program and can give you an insider perspective on our outside curriculum.
Thank you, Nassim. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you are all here with us this morning. As Nassim said, my name is Isadora Harper. I'm a junior studying sustainable food and farming. And this morning, I want to just talk a little bit about my experience looking at colleges and then also my experience within Stockbridge. So when I was in high school, I looked at a truly overwhelming number of colleges. I knew that I wanted a sustainable agriculture program, and I was also really determined to leave the Midwest. I grew up in Chicago and just was like, I need something different. So those were the two things I had in mind, but I didn't really know what kind of features or aspects of a program I was really looking for. So I ended up with this really long list of schools, and UMass was one of them. And I ended up visiting UMass. And when I visited, I had the chance to speak with Amanda Brown, who is the program coordinator for the Student Farm, the program that Nassim just mentioned. And I also spoke with Sarah Berquist and John Gerber, some of the advisors for the program. And I was really impressed by the Student Farm program, but also just by the breadth of topics that you could find out about in the major if you were interested. So for example, there are classes on production, but there's also an emphasis within the major on the social aspects and the social systems surrounding agriculture. So those opportunities to look at all those different aspects have really characterized my time in Stockbridge. For example, I came in thinking that I wanted to learn about production agriculture and permaculture, which is an ecosystems view of food production. But my sophomore year, my schedule kind of fell apart. I had everything planned out and then couldn't get into one class, and things got completely thrown up in the air. And you may or may not experience this in your time at college. And so I ended up enrolling in a class called Agricultural Leadership and Community Education. And it was an opportunity to fulfill a core requirement for the major, but was not originally in my plan. And it completely changed my focus from production to agriculture education. And now I'm really interested in looking at on-farm programs and how we can combine these two realms to increase just everyone's connection with nature and land and food production. So that's an interest I really wouldn't have discovered if not for taking this class to fulfill a requirement. And I'm actually now minoring in education as well. So more broadly in Stockbridge, I've both found classes that really focus on the science and the practice of agriculture because of my specific major, but I'm sure for turfgrass and arboriculture, it's similar. For instance, I'm in a class right now called Sustainable Crop and Soil Management. It's a great class. If you come and are in this major, I highly recommend it. We're talking about cover cropping, no-till, intercropping, really specific practices. And I've also found classes that broaden your horizons to challenge you to think more about global land management and the systems and the paradigms and thinking that needs to shift in order for us to have a more reciprocal and beneficial relationship with our land. So right now I'm in a class called Agricultural Systems Thinking that focuses on that. And these two aspects, the practice and the global perspective, are really what I think we need in order to address climate change, which is part of why I'm attracted to this topic. And those two things are what I'm really going to be taking away from my time in Stockbridge. So to circle back to my decision-making process, UMass ended up being the school that I chose, partly because of the student farm program, which I think is a really unique and amazing experience. And I think Morgan's going to talk a little bit more about that after me. And also because of this sort of small and global focus on food production. So with that, I'll pass it to Morgan.
Great. Isadora, that was so beautifully put. I don't know if I'll be able to put it exactly as articulate, but to kind of amplify what Isadora said, Stockbridge is probably one of the most unique spots on campus and programs you can find yourself in. I'm a senior and I'm receiving my Bachelor's of Science in Sustainable Food and Farming. I did not begin in Stockbridge, but as you can see in the photo that's displayed on the screen, that's the student farm crew from 2018, but I completed the student farm program in 2019, and that program kind of was like the catalyst to me joining the program of sustainable food and farming. I came in with a pretty concrete idea of what I wanted to do, and that quickly changed when I realized that unlike any other program at UMass, I could be outside, which was definitely a deciding factor for me. Sustainable food and farming and any of the majors in Stockbridge may seem like if you choose to study in that one field, that's where your job will be, but I truly don't believe that is the case. A lot of the majors complement really well with other interdisciplinary majors outside of Stockbridge. For example, although I'm studying sustainable food and farming, my hope is to go into policy and food law. But because I'll have the background knowledge in sustainable food and farming, I think it will work well with also an IT minor and English minor, which helps. I've really also been able to experience a wide range of courses that are more STEM focused, like plant pathology, post-harvest biology, and then as Isadora referenced to ag systems thinking, which is kind of looking at the implications of conventional agriculture, which are very far reaching. And it's interesting because we talk about things that are not commonly brought up in other classes, sort of the people who are not farming the food cannot afford to buy the food. So if you're interested at all in kind of policy and implications of food and farming, it's definitely there for you. I really encourage people to not be set off by, studying farming because it's not as mainstream as something maybe, but unlike any other class I've taken, these courses and the professors and the people involved in this program have truly taken interest in my educational career and worked closely with me to figure out what I want to do. And like I said before, you can't get more hands-on than this. I remember my last year, I would have chem class in the morning, and I would go harvest for 3 hours, and then I'd go to an English course. And I couldn't ask for anything more out of my college experience. And I'm really grateful to have ended up in this program. And even the support, you're in Stockbridge, but you're under CNS, and there's a lot of lovely people and powerful forces there too. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. And like I said before, I just want to reiterate, there is a lot of people who study sustainable food and farming or a different major in Stockbridge and pair that with a different major. So you can kind of do anything you want. But yeah, thank you for listening to me ramble.
All right, thank you all so much. Naseem, there is one question that is in the chat that we're still seeking an answer. If you'd be willing to talk about this for a moment. Does the Natural Resources Conservation Program work with Stockbridge at all? And if so, how so?
It sure does. So it's an adjacent area. So our eco department has the natural resources conservation major as well as environmental science. We also have a structure called the School of Earth and Sustainability, which sort of draws across Stockbridge and the eco department and the natural resource conservation program, as well as environmental science, geosciences as part of it as well. And so we have a structure where you can take very specialized Stockbridge courses, but you can also expand into those sort of logical green and environmental ecosystem areas. And that's another one of the advantages of having a large university, is that we can provide those offerings that go beyond the specialty courses of Stockbridge.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Naseem, Isadora, and Morgan for this fantastic presentation on the Stockbridge School of Agriculture. I always like to give a little shout out to Stockbridge, as my husband is a Stockbridge graduate himself and is now the supervisor of landscape and grounds at Amherst College. Spent a lot of time over on the turfgrass field during college for sure, the turfgrass farm, I should say. So thank you so much.